this is Isabel Litzler. Welcome to my channel. So today I want to give you some basic information to have great Skype interviews or Zoom interviews, whatever your employer or recruiter will use, how to make that actually a better experience for you and for your recruiter, knowing that it's going to have an impact on whether you get taken to the next stage or have an in-person meeting when things go back to working in the office. So the first thing that you want to do, the first tip, is to have a very simple background. So when you have your call, make sure that you pick a place in your home where you have a plain background. So it can be a brick wall, the way I have, but it can also be just a plain white wall if you don't have a lot of perfect spot in your house. Make sure it's just a very plain white wall will do. Actually, it's to avoid distraction so that people are focused on what you say as opposed to trying to look at what's going on in your background. So if you have jumping cats or dogs, make sure maybe that they're taken care of while you have your Skype meeting, because that's also going to have an effect on distraction. I was on a call a little bit earlier and I could see the background noises. It was a little bit complicated to focus. So that's something easy to remember. Pick a very plain background that attracts no distraction. Number two is the equipment so that you can speak and you can be heard. Another thing I notice in calls that I have, people won't speak in a microphone directly, so you don't really hear what it is that they're saying. It's muffled, it's breaking down. So make sure you have a good connection. Make sure your Wi-Fi is working properly, that your computer is working properly. I know those are basics, but sometimes people forget or they're in stress because they didn't have time to do it. So make sure that your Skype is working or your Zoom is working. If you don't have good connection on your PC, check with your phone. Another thing I recommend that you use when you have the call is something like this. It's actually, you see a lot of YouTubers use them. They are earphones, and it's the most basic thing that you can use if you don't have a microphone. So I have invested in a mic, a big mic, but not every single one of you will have that handy for your interview, but you can use those that you probably have with your phone. And you see here you have a microphone. I didn't know this before. I learned this actually not so long ago, maybe 6 months ago, that there wasn't a microphone in it. So whenever you want to be heard, what I would recommend is that you hold it like this. So you put it in your ears very easily there. So you would put it in your ear like this, and you would notice sometimes people go like this when they speak online. It's that you're heard better. So make sure that you put it near your mouth, because if you leave it dropping like this, you won't be heard very well. So when you have your interview, make sure you plug that in your ears on both sides. It doesn't even fit very well on my face. And then you just speak like this if you want the person you're having the call or the interview with to hear you very well. So this equipment you probably have as part of your telephone, of your mobile phone, so you don't have to invest. You just use it to be heard very well when you have your interview. So that's number two, that's the equipment. Of course, make sure you have the light in your place when you have the call. If it's the evening, make sure you have your lights on so that people can see you well. This will make a better impression. So that's just the environment. Now, in terms of yourself, make sure that you're dressed for an interview as if you had the in-person interview. And sometimes people take those a little bit lighter because they think, well, it's the confinement, everyone is at home, so we're more on a low-key type of thing. One way to make yourself stand out in comparison to candidates that are not as prepared is to look a little bit more relaxed. But you don't want to do that. You want to do the other way. You want to make sure that you have a nice suit on and you have your makeup on if you're a woman and your hair is done, etc., because that's going to be, again, noticeable. So think about it in that sense. When everyone is doing something, I say go the other way, because you don't want to be part of the ocean. You want to be different, and that's how people remember you, because you're different. So when everyone is going to be coming on their interview, looking a little bit, relaxed and almost like a weekend mode, you're going to be dressed up and prepared, and the recruiter will remember this. They may not remember everything you said during the interview, but they will remember those details, because a lot of people are visual. Some people are audible, but a lot of people tend to be visual as well. So they will remember how you dressed, how you spoke, how you were set up in your apartment. That's also something people remember. I know I remember better the people I heard today on the call the ones that were prepared, that had a good sound. I remember them better than people that were muffled and you can't see them because they're in the dark, etc. So those are little details where you get noticed. And of course, don't forget, that's the closing of this video, to prepare yourself for the actual interview, the before, during, and after. I talk about this in my trainings, and I will make available the spreadsheet or the cheat sheet on what to do before, during, and after an interview. This is actually the same whether it's online or offline. It's the same principles, the same behaviors that you need to follow. So I will make that available below. Feel free to click on it. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.